Hey there, pen enthusiasts. Today we're doing a little bit of a behind the scenes video. I needed a few more lights that I've made myself. I've had them for quite a while, but I needed a few more, so I figured I'd make a quick little video on how I did that, as I haven't quite seen a video that puts it all together quite the same way. And if you are looking to record your own videos or take photography where you need a bit of extra lighting, it's something that can get the job done without being too expensive. So we'll go over with what we've got to get this done. We've got a cookie pan here. I picked this up from Dollar Tree for $1.25. It's probably the cheapest option for something to put this in that's going to be decent size and fairly sturdy. And the main benefit of it being a cookie pan is it is magnetic. So that's actually how I attach it above my recording here. And kind of the secret sauce here that I haven't seen used in any of the other videos is actually how I power it. Rather than using a DC converter module, which you can adjust the voltage on, this is a USB-C trigger board. And so what this does is if you have a USB-C PD compatible or power delivery compatible charging brick, you just plug them together, and depending on what you set these little dip switches to, it'll give you different voltages. So for these LEDs, they run at 12 volts, but you can bump it down to 9 volts to get a little bit dimmer if you wanted that. And so for this, I do have it set to the 12 volt mode because I do need just all the light I can get. But that's kind of how I do that without having to mess with the little fiddly things that you turn the little potentiometer on there. And at least in my experience, because I did make one following that, they got quite hot and I didn't really like that. And then the part here that we can't skimp out on too much is going to be the LEDs. I've tried a couple different ones now, and I found some on Amazon that worked all right, but they weren't near as bright as these were for the same amount of LEDs. So I ended up picking up the ones I originally purchased. I couldn't find them on Amazon and had to pick them up on eBay. So we'll get these open here. And so these will come on a little spool here, and we'll just take off what we need. We'll also need some super glue. The LEDs do have an adhesive backing to them, but because of the heat that's generated while they're lit, it actually causes that to lose some of its stickiness, and they'll just come right off after a little bit of time. So rather than having to give yourself some headache, it doesn't hurt to put, especially at the start and stop, and then just a couple drops kind of along the way to keep it stuck to the side here. We'll have some of these binder clips. What we're going to use to diffuse this is going to be just a cheap shower curtain. And we'll cut out a little square of it, put over the top to diffuse our lighting, like this here. You can get the shower curtain in a white, which is what I have there, or there's also a transparent or translucent that's kind of halfway in between the white and the clear, depending on how much diffusion you want versus light output. If you want the most light output, you don't want anything over the top, but you will get kind of hot spot reflections depending on what you're pointing it at. And if it's, off on your face or something, you probably typically want that to be more diffused to where you don't see reflections in like your glasses and stuff like that. Since I use my cell phone here, it automatically adjusts. This is what it looks like in kind of a typical scene. Got my notebook, pen, desk pad, all that. If I start unplugging lights, so typically I use the 2 lights above, and then I've got a ring light with a phone mount here in the middle, pointing directly at the scene. So I'm going to unplug one of the top lights, the other light, and then I'm going to reach around here and turn off the ring light. And so now the only light I have is going to be this little panel here I made And then the room light, which is very dim, I actually wouldn't consider it enough light for the room as is. So it actually makes quite a bit of difference having just the 2 lights above. But even just the 1 ring light gives you quite a bit more. It just doesn't fill in kind of all the areas of the desk there. So we'll plug those back in. I think you could get away with the ring light and just one of the ones up top, depending on where you placed it. You could probably get it lit a little bit better than it is here, but I think that would be fairly acceptable. Tossing in the second one definitely helps fill in some of the darker areas in the back. And so mainly what I want to do with the extra lights is I do plan on kind of remaking the top ones, and I'm going to make them more directional. So I'm going to put the lights directly on the bottom of the cookie sheet and zigzag them back and forward to make them a little bit brighter overall. And then I think I'll use the ones I already have made as lights to point directly at it, because even with the light I have, the colors don't end up being quite as vivid as what they appear to my eye. So I think I need just a bit more light actually pointing on the subject, and I think I have enough overall for kind of the area. So I will probably have kind of a light off to the side pointing at the kind of subject of the video, and see if that helps me get maybe a little bit better color as far as accuracy. I'm gonna pull that off of there because you don't need that. And kind of from here on, I will probably switch over to a voiceover rather than kind of a live recording of my voice. That way I can cut and bounce around as I need to. So I'm going to get a rough measurement of how much I need. So essentially I'm measuring out each side, and I'll do that twice for the long side, and then kind of just start from the end there. Measure out the short side twice. With these LEDs, you typically want to cut them here where the little cut marks are. If you cut it somewhere in between, it's only going to light up to kind of the end of that, and it can prevent the rest of them from lighting up properly. So you want to cut that in between there where it's got the little cut line. And since this was the start of it, it comes with wires attached, which saves me a little bit of trouble there. I'm going to get my super glue going here. I did have to open a new pack. I had a bottle that was open, but as per usual, it was completely dried out. That's just how it goes. So I'm going to put just a little bit right there at the start. I'm going to put the wire in the corner. I find that to be kind of the most convenient spot. So I'm going to hold that down just to let it kind of get in there. And then I'll probably put 2 or 3 dots on the long side, 2 dots kind of on the short, all the way around, and then a dot right at the end. We'll see if I make it through without super gluing my fingers together. All right, so we've got that on there, and I did measure it quite close. Couldn't got too much closer without going over. It's one of those things, if you overlap it a little, it's not going to hurt anything, but no real reason to put any more on there if you need to. So for kind of my basic configuration, this is what I do kind of around the edge, and this is going to give you a more diffuse light once you put the cover over it, because the light's going to bounce around and come out. Whereas if you wanted more direct lighting, you could put strips this way, but then you would need to solder wires in between each line to kind of zigzag it back and forward, because this stuff will go around a corner like this flat, but you can't really bend it sideways like that. And so I've already got this set into 12 volt mode because I was using it earlier, but I will put a little graphic on the screen to let you know which ones are what. And so to attach this up, we're just going to need to get these two wires here, and the polarity is going to be marked kind of along the edge here where each of the cut points are. So the way I have it stuck on here, the topmost side is going to be our negative and the bottom is the positive. So I'm going to match that up with our trigger board here, which is going to have the ground and positive marked on here. So we'll put the negative to the ground and then the positive to the V bus. And so this one here just has little screw terminals. So we'll pop the wires in the right spot and tighten them down. Because of how I use this, I typically don't change the voltages, but they do make different trigger boards. They've got like this one here, which has a push button. So it starts at the lowest voltage, the 5 volts, and then as you click it up, depending on what your little USB power delivery charger supports, will kind of bump up in steps. So typically a lot of them are 5 volts, 9 volts, 12 volts. But if you get ones that are designed to also charge laptops, they can go 15, 20, and beyond, depending on what standards they work with. And so for my typical lighting, I use a multi-charger that can do multiple ports. It does 2 power delivery ports at the same time. If you try to put 3 in, one of them just doesn't work, which is pretty common with a lot of them where the individual ports aren't actually separated. So it's kind of hit and miss on which ones can do what. This one here is just a single port, depending on what you needed it for. But as far as what voltages it can put out, typically it's going to be on the box or printed somewhere on the actual charger itself. So what we're looking at here is this output line. So this is a 30 watt PD charger that supports 5 volts, 9 volts, 12 volts, 15 volts, and 20 volts. So the only 2 we care about are the 9 and the 12. Bumping it up to 15 really doesn't add any brightness, and you're just going to burn up your LEDs faster. The 9 volts will give you a little bit dimmer performance, and 12 volts is just what they're supposed to run at. So I'm going to plug this in, run a little cord up here, flashbang the camera, we'll plug that in, and we will get light. And the camera's going to automatically adjust so it doesn't look as bright as it could be. But I can assure you it is quite bright. And so for general illumination, you could just throw this up somewhere. I use a magnetic toolbar that I picked up from Harbor Freight and mounted to the shelf I have above this desk. And I stick them to that, but I've also made different mounts that I can kind of magnetically stick it to. And you could definitely either stick on some type of adapter to put like a 1/4-20 thread on it, or like something to snap it to a C-stand, depending on what you have, depending on just kind of what mounts you need. I have a 3D printer, so I can always 3D print something, just glue it on the back here. I've tried to drill holes through this, at least with a hand drill and the crappy drill bits that I have at the moment. It dents it more than it drills it, so just depends what you got there as to what I would consider the best option there. And then as far as the diffusion material, I've used the shower curtain here, which I think is kind of the best bang for your buck. You can pick one of these shower curtains up for $1 something from Walmart, and it will be more than enough material to make as many lights as you probably need. And I just kind of cut it out a little bit bigger than it needs to be fold it over and then use those clips kind of wherever I need them to hold it in place. And that's going to diffuse the light a little bit so it's not as much of a hot spot, and just make it kind of nicer, especially if you're pointing it straight at your face. All right, so I've put that diffusion material on there. And again, with the way the camera works, it's going to immediately dim out just because it's going to kind of auto brightness balance, auto white balance, all that fun stuff. I'm using my phone, so it doesn't give me the control I need to kick off the exposure setting there. But either way, this is just kind of a quick option. Another quick and dirty option is always the clamp on can light.